Thank you, Jesse Rogers. And yes, and thank you, Jesse Rogers. We come to you live from Karen, the home of DCP party leader Rigathi Gachagua and key principal in United Opposition today, as we have a discussion on the state of the nation. Where are we today? We shall be discussing about the economy of the country, privatization of state resources as we know it, just what is his view on the same, as well as the ongoing IEBC voter registration. That IEBC itself says that voter registration is actually low, voter turnout is low. How are we having this discussion to ensure that the young people, 6.3 million being targeted by IEBC, turn up and vote? And finally, we shall also be having a discussion on Rigathi Gachagua's presidential ambitions. But how just did we end up here? How did we end up being in the United Opposition? Welcome, Rigathi Gachagua. We start with your relationship with former President Uhuru Kenyatta when you were working with him as his PA. Just how was it working for Uhuru Kenyatta?
No, I worked for President Uhuru Kenyatta from the year 2001 to 2006. I was his personal assistant in charge of politics and political mobilization, and we had a very good time. And the journey we started with him, his first bid in 2002 did not come through. We knew it wouldn't. It was actually a strategy to anchor him for better things later. And when we didn't make it, we stayed together in the opposition. Along the way, we consulted our people back home, and they were of the opinion that he should not oppose President Mwai Kibaki. We should support Mwai Kibaki, a decision he made in 2006. It was a good decision, and it paid off. And Mwai Kibaki became president, and he was appointed deputy prime minister. And we pushed on, and he became president for 10 years. And I was part of that journey, and it's a journey that I'm proud of as part of my resume in terms of making presidents. I'm very proud that I was involved in planning, strategizing on how Uhuru Kenyatta, from a private businessman, would become the president of Kenya within 10 years. And I'm very proud of my contribution and the role that I played in assisting Uhuru Kenyatta to be president of Kenya. And we worked very well. And he was a good boss to work for, self-driven, hardworking, listening, and we worked hard, and it paid off.
Yeah, you speak highly of how you worked together with former President Uhuru Kenyatta, and a little bit later you got elected as Mathira Member of Parliament through Jubilee. And as that progressed, fast forward to 2022, you break ranks with former President Uhuru Kenyatta, and a lot is said during that campaign period. Just what happened for you to break ranks with Uhuru Kenyatta?
Our arrangement with him was over. We had wanted him to be president for 10 years, and he was president for 10 years. It was time to move on and move into other political ventures. And so there was really no issue, because when we joined hands in 2001, and we had an agreement that he wanted me to assist him to be president of Kenya. And I did, and he became president, and he was having his second and final term. So the contract was over, and he was proceeding on retirement. I had to move on and pursue my ambition elsewhere.
And after that, we look at a position where now you've formed the government and you are the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. And during that period, a lot has happened. You formed a government. So here is a point where you break ranks with President William Ruto, and you walk out, and you had a lot to say with regard to what was said during the campaign period, and said that President William Ruto lied to you. How so?
Well, he didn't just lie to me, he lied to all Kenyans. You know, this country is where we are because unknowingly we elected a very deceptive leader. a guy who lies without blinking on very simple things. Very simple, even where you need not lie. Like he can bring a machine to make 1 million chapatis a day. Will bring cars without an engine. Will give diapers to everybody. We were all victims of deception. And sometimes I feel like blaming myself for being duped, despite thinking that I'm a smart guy. But when I look at the number of Kenyans who are duped, bishops, reverends, pastors, businessmen, great men and women of this country, I don't blame myself. I think the guy was just a super con man. And
do you regret statements you made against former President Uhuru Kenyatta during the campaign period?
Campaigning was campaigning. My brother, Dennis, when you are campaigning, there are no rules. Campaigning is not a church affair. It's not a wedding. It's rough. And there's nothing personal really. We're just looking for leadership. And the things that were said then are dropped immediately the election is over. You don't bother about them. Because when you are looking for votes, you come up with all sorts of issues against your opponents. And really there is nothing personal. Once the elections are over, you move on. Just like you have seen, even Uhuru Kenyatta himself, things that he said against Raila Odinga, then they came and patched up and they worked together. Look at William Ruto. He called Raila all sorts of names, Muganga, Nini, Kitendawili. Today they are calling each other brothers. When people are campaigning and they use words here and there against each other, it's part of the game. And there is nothing really personal.
Yeah. You say President William Ruto lied to you during the campaign period, and many Kenyans ask the question, are you not your own man to stand on what you believe in, to give direction as Rigathi Gachagua and not one Rigathi Gachagua who can be influenced by another politician?
I was not duped alone. All of us were duped. He was voted in by 7.2 million votes. I was just one of them. What about the other 7.1999? They were all duped. So it cannot just be Rigathi Gachagua who was duped alone. It was very many of us. And that is why many of us, plus others, are looking for an opportunity to have a remedy to that situation, that we were duped, we were conned, and we need to correct that situation, again through the vote. Now we are wiser, we know better. They say, you can fool some people sometime, but you can't fool all the people all the time. That con game by William Ruto is over. Kenyans are wise. They know, they see, they hear, and they all know that they were conned. And why probably I take a very active role in correcting this mess we are in is because I played an even greater role in putting the country in this mess we are in, because I really campaigned for the guy. I was all over convincing people, talking to them, using proverbs, using slogans, using all kinds of figurative language, describing him in very amiable terms, giving a lot of hope to the people of Kenya. And I persuaded very many, and I feel I have a greater responsibility to remedy the damage that I caused this country and to right what is wrong. And just the way I persuaded people that this was the right guy, since now I know differently and many Kenyans know differently, I have an equal greater responsibility to be very active and be very aggressive, even much more than I was at that time, to correct the situation and send the guy home and come up with better leadership.
As you talk about sending the guy home, President William Ruto threw the phrases that you've coined one term. And with that then comes the united opposition that is pushing towards this agenda. But one would ask the question, just how united is the opposition? When the united opposition was starting, we saw the likes of Jubilee being part of the bandwagon. Today, we're seeing breaks and cracks. Just how united is the united opposition?
There are no cracks in the opposition. There may be a little differences among leaders in the way they look at things. But those leaders are not the opposition. The opposition to William Ruto are the people of Kenya. And they are united to a man. To a man. The one-term movement is real across the country, from the coast region, northern Kenya, Rift Valley, central Kenya, upper and lower eastern, Nyanza, western, here in Nairobi. The one-term movement is unstoppable, and the people of Kenya are united in purpose. We, the leaders, are just a reflection of the people, but we are not the people. We are not the opposition. The opposition are the people of Kenya. And what we are doing as leaders is just providing leadership, because when people want to go somewhere, they need somebody to lead the way. But the people know where they want to go. They know what they want to do. And they are united in purpose. And believe you me, if any leader moves from the one-term movement, that leader becomes obsolete. That's the end of his or her political career. I want to assure you. And I don't think any leader can make that mistake. Because what you do when you are a practical politician, like myself, I listen to the people. Even the years preceding to 2022, I listened to the people. I told President Uhuru Kenyatta. He was my great buddy. I said, Mr. President, listening to the people, this Raila project they don't want. Please don't force them. They will disappoint you and they will embarrass you. And he shrugged it off. He didn't think it is true. He still believed he had instruments of state and he could persuade people to do things differently. I went back a second and a third time, and then I gave up, and then we differed. But I told him the truth, what people are saying. My brother, I am one Kenyan leader who never deviates from where the people are. I always align with the people, and that is why I've never lost an election. Anybody I've ever supported has won, because I take my time to listen to the people. I've listened to the people, and they have made a decision. I've heard William Ruto complaining that we are only talking about one term. Indeed, it's not about we should talk about one term throughout. It's the people who are forcing us. They don't want to listen to anything else. The other day I was in Nyandarua, in a place called Miharati. People have gone to meet before, and before that they asked me to talk about potatoes, the storage facilities, roads, water, schools. The last time I was there, I tried to talk about water, about schools, about potatoes. They are not interested. They say, tell us about one term. So I want to tell William Ruto why we are unable to talk about anything else in public meetings is because the people don't want to discuss anything else. They want to discuss one term. They are impatient. They want this guy to go like yesterday because he's the cause of all their problems. People are struggling. SHA is not working. The education system has collapsed. Children are at home. Roads have not been repaired. There is no money in circulation. Bribery is taking place in State House when they can see. They feel stifled, they feel occupied, and they want to be free. So they are talking about one term. So when I came up with this one term slogan, many people ask me, where did you come with this slogan? I was just summarizing what the people are saying. You know, I listen to the people, and God has gifted me with figurative language as a student of literature. I listened to what people of Kenya are saying, and I needed to capture what the people of Kenya are saying and what they want in one word. Because, you know, in the figurative language, people don't want too many words in matters communication. People want to describe a difficult situation or a solution in one single word. So I thought about it, and listening to the people of Kenya across the country, the mood in the country, what the people want. Then I came up with the slogan of one term. It has spread like bushfire. It is discussed everywhere, in bars, in churches, in matatus, in Uber, in salons, in barbershop. And I just listened to the people and captured their feelings, their aspirations, and what they want in one word.
One word. You talk about one term, but at the time when Kenyans went to the streets to complain about the ills the government was is putting on them, and one word was kufa dereva, kufa makanga. And when you talk about one term, Kenyans have insisted that it is the entire crew of politicians to go home and we reset the status of the country. How would you respond to Kenyans who say, even you, regarding Gachagua, we do not want you to lead us?
Well, I don't know which Kenyans those are, because when I go to meetings, thousands attend without any mobilization. I don't pay people to attend my meetings like William Ruto does. Today he was in church in Meru. The people who went to church were paid. You know, it has reached there. He cannot talk to people without paying them. I don't pay people. I address organic meetings across the country. And people, when I turn up wherever I go, they come in thousands. So I don't know which are these Kenyans that have a problem with Rigathi Gachagua and they think he's part of the problem. Yes, they considered me to be part of the problem, but along the way, I graduated into part of the solution. And one of the solutions that Kenyans want, that I have taken charge of, is one term. And Kenyans are happy with me because you remember when I went to the United States for 6 weeks and Kenyans were asking for me to come back because the one-term momentum was slowing down. And that is what Kenyans want. So what I did is, I was a part of the problem. When I realized there's a problem, I differed with William Ruto. And along the way, I graduated into a solution that has gone well with the people of Kenya. And the people of Kenya, wherever I go, I get rousing welcome. I don't pay anybody. My meetings spend nothing other than fuel and batteries for my microphones. I don't spend money. As opposed to my opponent William Ruto, because that is my opponent. For him to address any meeting, like in the Mount Kenya region, he spends a minimum of 10 million in any meeting. His MPs, they spend 2-3 million. His deputy spends about 5 million to talk to anybody. All these guys you see at attend, they are all paid. And if you don't pay them, they'll start saying one time. And even what is interesting is, because I also communicated to my people, when I realized that a lot of money is being used to bribe them, I also told them, I gave them the charges to charge these guys to come and cheat them. And what has happened now is that William Ruto and his group pays Kenyans to listen to them. The minute they take off, they all start shouting one time, because we agreed that this money is stolen. In any case, even if you don't take it from William Ruto, he'll take it elsewhere. So why not? Just take it, but don't sell your conscience, and stick with what you believe in. So I don't agree with you that Kenyans say they want to get rid of everybody. If they did, the meetings I do, there will be nobody, or they will be demanding I pay them.
But regarding Gachagua, you've taken responsibility of being part of the problem. And what are some of the problems we're talking about? We talk about SHA. Let's talk about affordable housing. Let's talk about taxes. During the campaign period, you and President William Ruto went across the country saying the problem with the high price of fuel in the country was because of the taxes. But what did we see once you formed the government? The taxes increased from 8% to 16%, 100% increment. As Kenyans sit here today and listen to you speak, they say you are part of the pain we feel today. We feel not comfortable to have you on board.
I'll qualify that. I am not part of the problem of taxation, theft of public resources, wanton corruption. I'm not part of that. The problem I admit I am part of was bringing William Ruto to office. That I accept. And I've apologized 100 times to the people of Kenya. That I created the mess we are in by assisting William Ruto to be elected president. I accept wholeheartedly to the people of Kenya that I created a problem in Kenya, and I take responsibility. But I've also told the people of Kenya, now that I admit I made a great mistake in creating the problem, the mistake called William Ruto, the greatest lie ever in the history of Kenya. For me to redeem my image, I must play an even greater role in correcting that problem by making sure William Ruto is one term. As to the problems that are in the country as his deputy, we had no role. William Ruto is a one-man show. He runs the government single-handedly. And you can see like now he's doing roadside declarations. Yesterday he was in Vihiga, and somebody there, an MP, complained about fees for IDs. And then he made a declaration there that there will be no more fees without consulting the policy makers, without talking to anybody. That's a mess we are in a country. The other day you saw teachers come to State House for bribes. And then he made a unilateral declaration that 20% of those houses will go to teachers without talking to the minister, without talking to the directors, without talking to the people who made this policy. That's the way this country is run. You know, that is the way this country is run. And therefore, I absolve myself from any blame, because when I realized that as deputy I had no role, the ministers had no role, the PSs had no role, I started having a fight with him within, until it reached a place we could not agree, and he made a decision to throw me out, which is okay, you know. But I realized, and after the first 1 year, that the Kenya government, led by William Ruto, had become a criminal enterprise. Theft of public resources, misappropriation of funds, decisions that are of commercial interest to him and his family. And I couldn't take it, because that is not what he had told me when we were forming government. That is not what he had told the people of Kenya. If you look at this decision to sell Kenya Pipeline is valued at 600 billion. It's being sold for 100 billion, you know? And the valuation has not included land in Mombasa that is worth about 40 billion. And this company is being bought by a Nigerian who is an in-law to President William Ruto. And that I know, because I was there. And I had refused when the matter was brought to the cabinet committee that I chaired. How do you sell strategic installations of the country? You know, oil, fuel is something that is very sensitive. How do you put the country's oil reservoirs in private hands? What if there is sabotage and the country comes to a stop? But because he has a commercial interest himself, you know, today, Dennis, tea farmers are up in arms. I was in charge of tea reforms and things were going on very well. A single decision by William Ruto to do business with the rebel movement in Sudan, the RSF of Hemeti, who is a business partner of William Ruto. The government of Sudan made a decision to ban the importation of Kenyan tea. As a result of that ban, we have not been able to sell our tea in good prices. What is the result? The prices of tea have gone down. Farmers across the country, including his home in Kericho and Bomet, where he comes from, his kinsmen, they are up in arms. And it's a simple personal decision that because he wants to deal with the gold with Sudan and give them arms in exchange to kill women and children, then we cannot sell our tea. And because we cannot sell our tea, our prices have gone down. Then the farmers are crying across the country. So these are the things that I saw along the way. And I said, no, I can't have this. I'm not a con man. How do we con the people of Kenya? We promised to have a bottom-up economic transformation agenda. We promised to put money into people's pockets. Then the little that they have, we remove it, you know? So I am saying that the Kenya government, run by William Ruto, is a criminal enterprise. State House is a crime scene. You have seen State House now has lost dignity. Bribery takes place, you know, in broad daylight, you know, and he doesn't care really. He really doesn't care. All money that was meant for capitation, schools are shutting down. That money has been diverted to State House to bribe people. Money meant for health has been diverted. Lecturers have not been paid. This money is what is being carried in sacks, in choppers across the country. I was unable to be part of that criminal enterprise. And Kenyans must forgive me for that, because that's not what we promised the people of Kenya. We had promised the people of Kenya that we are people's government, that we are going to serve in humility, we are going to make people's lives better, we are going to make people to improve their welfare, we are going to have ease of doing business. But where we are, my friend, the country is on its knees.
We talk about privatization of state resources. You've mentioned KPC to be specific. You say that the valuation was not considered, that this is business because the person who's to buy it is President William Ruto's son-in-law. What evidence do you have to show? Because, he
looked for me.
Absence of evidence showing that you have these as a fact remains being hearsay. As well, you say you are inside as deputy and you knew about this. Why speak now?
I have been speaking, and anything I've told Kenyans have come to pass. Anything I've said. I said about bombers of Kenya, it has come to pass. I said about RSF, it has come to pass. I said President William Ruto has appointed drug barons into his cabinet. I have been vindicated the day before yesterday. Drugs are being smuggled through JKIA.
Who in his cabinet is in charge of that?
You have seen the photographs. The people who are smuggling drugs through the airport, you have seen their photographs with the cabinet minister. And everybody knows that cabinet minister who is a drug baron. There are two. And I asked William Ruto. He had put me in charge of fighting drugs and alcoholism. When he was appointing these two ministers, I asked him, Mr. President, where does that leave me? How do I continue with this war on drug abuse when I'll be sitting in the same cabinet with the drug barons? That expose that has happened at the airport, if William Ruto has any decorum remaining, he must sack that minister. The evidence is there. The people who are smuggling drugs through JKIA, the photographs with his minister is there. And you can see clearly that the minister is actually the one who is facilitating, the peddling of the smuggling of drugs through the airport, because the drugs that have been caught, the documentation was saying that they are minerals that are going for testing. So the ministry is being used for drug trafficking because the minister has been a drug baron, and it is in public domain. Everybody knows. There is nobody in this country who doesn't know. But William Ruto has no qualm. Because of his own business interest with that minister and the deals they are doing together, he has no qualms about appointing a fellow involved in drugs to the cabinet when our children are in trouble. How does William Ruto face parents today? And he was telling parents that they are responsible for bad upbringing. When he has appointed ministers who are peddling drugs, they are sitting in his cabinet. When now there is evidence that that minister and his associates are involved in drug trafficking, how does he face parents and accuse them of bad upbringing when his minister, who is his business partner, is involved in drug peddling, cocaine, hard drugs in this country? These are some of the things, Dennis, that got me very tired. And today, in fact, I feel very relieved I'm not part of that government. I don't know how I'll be able now. This week, I would have gone to cabinet after what happened at JKIA. I don't know how I would have gone to sit in that cabinet with that minister when I was in charge of fighting drugs and alcoholism on behalf of government, and then I have to sit with a minister who is facilitating drug trafficking in the country.
You've painted a lot of negativity and negative things that are happening with the current government. And in that, there is now the united opposition that is coming forth and saying, we want to form the next government. Let's speak about DCP as a party. And DCP is seen as it is a party that solely belongs to the Mount Kenya region. You regard the Gachagua has been accused of being a tribalist. How would you shake that, knowing that Kenyans are saying you only speak about the mountain and nowhere else?
Nobody has accused me of tribalism other than William Ruto. The only tribal thing regarding Gachagua has done is to speak Kikuyu in meetings. When I was looking for votes for William Ruto, I used to speak Kikuyu and I was smiling because I don't have to speak to the Kikuyu people in English because they are not Englishmen. They are Kikuyus. And the fact that I'm a national leader has not changed my identity. William Ruto practices tribalism. The other day we were in Ukambani. He sacked the CEO of Kentraco and replaced with his own tribesmen. If you look at the composition of the CEOs in the country, out of about 250, 92 are from his ethnic community. If you look at all the businesses that have been given in this country, he has given to his tribesmen. If you check, they have advertised for police recruitment, about 10,000 positions. Yet, in every sub-county, in every constituency, they are taking 5. 290 times 5 is less than 2,000. 8,000 positions he is taking and giving his tribesmen. He has been doing the same thing for the military. I was there, I saw it, for the teachers. That is a man who practices tribalism throughout. If you look at Nairobi, the composition of officer commanding police stations, out of 14 police stations in Nairobi, 9 are from his tribe. Despite the fact that his tribe, in terms of numbers, in terms of percentage, they're just down there. So you cannot tell me because William Ruto says I'm tribal. My party, DCP, is a national party. I have a very strong candidate in Magarini, in Kilifi. Kilifi is not in Kirinyaga, it's not in Nyandarua. That is in Coast Province. I have a candidate in Narok Township Ward, in Narok. That is not in Nyeri. I have a candidate in Puruko Ward in Kajiado. That is not Muranga. I have a candidate in Malava, in Kakamega. That is not Nyanyuki. My deputy party leader, Cleo Malala, is from Kakamega. Kakamega is not Nyeri. The chairman, national chairman, is from Kajiado. Deputy Secretary General is from Narok. Deputy Secretary General in charge of strategy, Owino Mabli, is from Kisumu. Ours is a national party. It's only that because William Ruto sees me there, he sees the Kikuyu, whom he hates, despite the fact that they made him president. And when we made him president, we knew he was not one of our own. He has hated us because we have refused to give him our vote. Our vote we give willingly to people who respect us and people who are truthful and people who don't misuse us and people who don't abuse us when we tell him we will not give you our vote. He has been trying to mobilize the rest of the country against us, and therefore we are through with him. That does not make us tribal. In any case, we have many other friends that we are working with. We don't have to work with him, and it cannot be because we supported him. If we don't feel like supporting him and we can support somebody else, we become tribal. We can support anybody else. We can support Kalonzo Musyoka. We can support Fred Matiang'i. We can support Eugene Wamalwa. We can support George Natebea. We can support Seki. We can support Mohamed Adi from Nyali. We have no contract with William Ruto that is binding, that because we voted for him in 2022, we must always vote for him. There is no such contract. And I want to tell him, sorry, you feel bad that we have left you. You made the bed, you lie on it. We had loved you, we had respected you, we had given you our votes, we had trusted you. You betrayed us. You cheated us. You respected you. We had given you our votes. We had trusted you. You betrayed us. You cheated us. You took advantage of our ignorance in terms we did not know you well. We chose you without knowing you well. And that was a mistake that we made. And it's a mistake we shall never repeat again. We will never vote for anybody that we don't know properly. We must do due diligence to know who you are, what you say about us when we are not there, and how you have been, what is your history. Those are mistakes that we made, and we are paying the price. And we have accepted that we made great mistakes, but we are saying we have learned from those mistakes. We will not repeat again. My friend, DCP is a national party. And let me tell you, it is a party that William Ruto fears. All these other parties that are in opposition, their meetings are never interrupted. It's only my meetings. He sends goons and police to beat me up, to beat up my members of parliament.
What evidence do you have to show that it is President William Ruto who sends goons to your meetings?
But these goons are escorted by police. I am an opponent of William Ruto. Why would police have anything against me? They take instructions from William Ruto. And DCP is his nightmare. And that is why in Banisa, we had a very strong candidate called Adan. And he was going to win that seat. Ruto called him and really gave him a dress down and intimidated him and threatened him until he had to abandon.
But the man you talk about came out and said that negotiated democracy that takes place in the northern part of the country and that his community advised
but State House is not State House is not northern Kenya.
Belong to northeastern. His people from northeastern told him to leave the seat for the other person. Why
that is what he said in public.
It is President William
That is
Ruto?
what he said in public. But what he told me in private, including the messages he sent me, I'll show them the message to you. He was thoroughly intimidated, thoroughly intimidated. William Ruto fears DCP because it's a party of the people. We listen to the ground. It's a serious party with very serious support across the country because we align ourselves with the aspirations of the Kenyan people. And you will see with these by-elections, DCP is not regional. Of course, it has very strong in the mountain because that's where it came from. But equally, it has support across the country. Yeah.
The return of former President Uhuru Kenyatta in the political scene, the recently held Jubilee NDC, seems as though it appears as though it is the next big party in the mountain. Does that shake DCP's presence in the mountain?
Well, there is nothing of worry to anybody. And I have seen a narrative people are trying to drive that there could be conflict between me and President Uhuru Kenyatta. Far from it. That is just diversion to try to slow down the one-term movement and bring sideshows of issues that are non-existent. From where I sit and as far as I know, and it's in public knowledge, President Uhuru Kenyatta, the fourth President of the Republic of Kenya, is retired. He's enjoying his retirement. And he cannot be president again. Rigathi Gachagua wants to be president of Kenya. Hence, there can be no conflict whatsoever between Rigathi Gachagua and President Uhuru Kenyatta. What will be the source of the conflict? One is a retired president, the other one wants to be president. So I don't know what people are talking about. How would he threaten my bid for president unless he is opposing me? And constitutionally, he has done his 2 terms. So he cannot be my opponent. So as far as I'm concerned, it's a non-issue. I don't even know where the matter has come from. I have not heard Uhuru Kenyatta saying I should not be president. I have not heard him asking people not to elect me as president. I don't know where these things are coming from. As far as I'm concerned, there's no issue. Absolutely. We have 2 leaders here. One is the past, the other one is the present and the future. What conflict would there be?
Jubilee says it might be going alone, that it might be coming up with its own presidential candidate. And Jubilee, with its base and its stronghold as well being the mountain, it is seen as though it is bringing the challenge on DCP, and others, critics have said that this is meant to divide the mountain because we have 2 parties that come from the mountain. What would be your response to that?
Let me first and foremost, Dennis, if you allow me, at the risk of being accused of always talking about the mountain, educate you a little bit. The mountain is a very important vote for this country, in that whoever it has supported has become president. William Ruto became president courtesy of the mountain vote. The mountain vote gave him 47% of what made him president. Without it, he would not have been president. Okay? So it's a vote that is critical. It's a vote that made Uhuru Kenyatta president, it made Mwai Kibaki president, it made William Ruto president. When Ruto hounded me out of office, the people of the mountain sat me down and gave me certain directions. The people of the mountain, I don't know about the rest of Kenyans well. I cannot speak for them because I don't know. The mountain people take no direction from any leader. No leader can tell them what to do.
Not even you?
Not even me. They decide what they want, and then a clever leader aligns with them immediately. If you ask President Uhuru Kenyatta, he will tell you. He told them to vote for Raila Odinga. They told him no. We have already decided to vote for William Ruto. That is a mountain for you. So saying that if Uhuru comes, he can divide the mountain, I don't know, Gachagua, let me tell you. 3 things have been decided in that mountain. 3 things. Not regarding Gachagua, not Uhuru Kenyatta can change what has been decided. And if you decide to change, you lose the people immediately and they become antagonistic towards you. The mountain people have made 3 key decisions. 1, that they wake up early in the morning to a man to send William Ruto home for betraying them, misusing them, and mobilizing other Kenyans against them, destroying their businesses and making life miserable for them. That decision has been made. Today, if I made a stupid decision to support William Ruto, I'll go alone to William Ruto. The mountain would abandon me in the morning without any shame. I'll be on my own. If Uhuru Kenyatta made a mistake and said, let's support William Ruto, he will be abused from morning to evening and nobody will listen to him. That is 1. 2, the mountain have learned from the past that a divided mountain is useless politically. Okay? And in 1992, Moi divided them to their disadvantage. Since then, they made a decision. They will never go to a vote divided. So a decision has been made in the mountain that nobody can divide that mountain. They'll vote one basket. If Rigathi Gachagua is candidate, he'll get all the votes. If he is not, and somebody else has been agreed on for united opposition, they'll give those votes to that person in total. That decision has been made. Uhuru Kenyatta cannot change it. Rigathi Gachagua cannot change it. 3, they say the mistake they made was to go to a wedding using the vehicle of somebody else. It was a great mistake for the people of the Mount Kenya region to elect William Ruto as president without their political party. They are paying for that mistake, and a decision was made, and I was instructed to form a new political party for the mountain and then look for other Kenyans to join that party. There were more than 30 political parties in the mountain. The people never told me to get any old one there and revive it. They were very clear. Create a new political party, look for other friends as a vehicle for the mountain to go to the elections, and they will never support anybody who is not from the mountain on his party. They'll use their party to support whoever they want or support one of their own in their own party. And they said they will elect everybody in that party. That decision has been made. President Uhuru Kenyatta cannot change it. Rigathi Gachagua cannot change it. So this debate I am seeing, Uhuru has come, the mountain can be divided, it's nonsense. Sijui Jubilee can compete with this piece, nonsense. Let me tell you, my brother, William Ruto is not sleeping. He has known that the mountain vote is against him, and he has decided, since he is unable to get that vote back, he must do whatever it takes to divide it. He has spent billions of shillings, 0. He has tried to divide Mount Kenya East and West, 0. He has tried to tell the people of Kiambu to leave the mountain, 0. He has bought many people and planted them into us in the opposition. People are picking them out one by one. Every day they say that is a mole, that is a Kasongo man, that one is a green wheelbarrow. They know. Nobody can divide the mountain, and I'm not even bothered. I don't even have to do anything about it myself, because that is a decision that has been made by the mountain and nobody can change it. And so that talk about that because of President Uhuru Kenyatta probably is coming, we can divide the mountain, I don't see it. And I don't think, the way I know President Uhuru Kenyatta, as having served under him for a long time and having understood the way he thinks, I don't think he will do anything to try to divide the mountain vote, because he knows it will be disastrous for the mountain politically. Number 2, he knows that if people ever suspected that he is trying to create a division within the mountain, they would hate him. I don't think Uhuru Kenyatta would ever go into that direction. I am persuaded that he is innocent of those accusations, and I don't think he will try to do it.
It has been said that with the decision that the mountain has decided to go with, say, DCP, and you become the kingpin or the spokesperson of the mountain, that there is a risk, or they see it as though you will use these votes as a negotiating power, that they would not even be surprised if you would work with President William Ruto and give him your support because you have the numbers, or get to government using the back door, the same way Raila Odinga has.
They are right. They are absolutely right. A political party is for forming government or getting into government, and that is why they asked me to form a strong political party to make sure we are not in the situation we are in. If we had our own political party, Ruto would not shortchange us. He would not mistreat the mountain the way he's doing today. So they are right. This party is for forming government and bargaining into government. Okay?
Would you bargain with President William Ruto?
As to who we can bargain with, that is a decision the people of Mount Kenya will make. But I can tell you from what they have told me, William Ruto is not part of that equation. We have no intention whatsoever to have any discussion, any negotiation with one William Ruto. However, we are open and willing to work with any other Kenyan of acceptable, good character, and who means well for the mountain, and whom we have checked and confirmed that he cannot turn against us and he cannot harm us the way William Ruto is doing. So in terms of saying we want a strong party to bargain into government, true. It is true, but we cannot bargain with William Ruto. We can bargain with anybody else, and that one we are willing to do. And they are right. Yes.
So as we talk about forming the next government, a united opposition is important in that. And I want to ask you your association with one Fred Matiang'i. Is he still part of the united opposition?
Yes, Fred Matiang'i is a good guy. He worked well with President Uhuru Kenyatta, and he made significant contribution to this country. And when he came from the US, I had several private meetings with him, and he expressed his desire to join us so that we create the change that we desire for this country. And he expressed his interest to serve as president if we can support him. And we welcomed him, and we had good discussion. And I believe he still remains very committed to that cause. And when he came, he found we had already started the opposition, and we were getting on. And we did brief him where we had reached. And we did it's an alliance of regions, and to defeat William Ruto, we need to work around the clock. And by the time he came, we had already agreed on a formula. Martha Karua, J.B. Muturi, Mithika Linturi, and I had been allocated to deal with the Mount Kenya region in terms of making sure we solidify the nation and we chase Ruto and Raila from the region, which we have done successfully. Eugene Wamarwa, Cleo Malala, and Georgina Tebea, we agreed they work on Western Kenya, and they make sure that they lock out William Ruto and Raila Odinga, you know, Kalonzo Musyoka, to work on because we had a gap in the Gusii nation. And we told him, rightly so, and he was in agreement, that politics is local, and he is more suitable to deal with the Gusii nation than ourselves because he understands the place better. So we did request that, just like we had done with other regions, he goes and work on the Gusii nation, which is already one term. Or Matiang'i has been busy trying to get a political party, organize structures and all that. And I think with time we'll be able to get to meetings and continue with what we are doing. So I've seen a lot of nonsense. People saying that that people have a problem with Fred Matiang'i, or he'll go it alone. Well, if he decides to go it alone, it'll be his funeral. The way it is, the way I listen to the people of Kenya, we're having a 2-2 moment.
Okay. Yeah, let's take a short commercial break, Mr. Gachagua. When we come back, we talk about how you will be forming government and you as a presidential candidate. Thank you for watching KTN. Welcome back. We apologize for that technical hitch, but the conversation still continues. We're coming to you live from Karen, the home of DCP party leader Rigathi Gachagua. Welcome back. Now, we're having a discussion on matters to do with the differences within the united opposition that you say does not exist, especially with the presence of one Fred Matiang'i.
There are no differences at all. And as I've told you, we have a 2-2 moment. There are two horses. The one-term movement versus William Ruto. Kenyans have told us, on certain terms, to agree among ourselves and give them one candidate. And what we are doing right now, and people must know, I want our supporters to stop pushing their candidates to be announced president. It's not yet. You see, this election is not like the other one. The 2022 election, Uhuru was exiting after 10 years. So the issue was who to replace him. This is not the issue, this election. First and foremost, we have to deal with the issue of William Ruto because he is sitting president and he wants to come back. So the most important thing before we can decide who is to mobilize Kenyans and agree on a strategy on how to remove William Ruto from power. Then once we have the numbers, and politics is a game of numbers, then among ourselves, we agree one person. And myself, I have said, I am presidential candidate. If I'm picked, I'll be very happy. I'll beat William Ruto in the morning. In case the formula does not favor me, it favors Kalonzo Musyoka, I'll support him the way I would have, campaigned for my own candidature. If it's Fred Matiang'i, the same. Martha Karua, the same. J.B. Muturi, the same. George Natabea, the same. But I can tell you, the little noise you are seeing is because William Ruto has planted a lot of moss in the opposition. He has infiltrated our various parties. Myself, when I was in office, he planted many people on me. And when I came out of office, I chased them away. Some have gone to Jubilee. So they are being used by William Ruto to cause problems within the opposition. And we have told leaders to be careful. If some Ruto moles have left my party and you are in the united opposition, don't allow them into yours because he'll still use them to undermine the bigger united opposition. I am aware that William Ruto and the National Intelligence Service are trying to create a third force. This is what happened in 1992. Mwai Kibaki was doing very well and he would have removed President Daniel Arap Moi. The National Intelligence Service hyped the candidature of Kenneth Matiba, who was abroad. And he came, they mobilized people at the airport, in Nakuru, everywhere. They created a hype. And they planted people and they convinced Matiba he must run. They divided the vote and William Ruto won. The same thing is happening. Many news agents have been planted, to us. Like myself, there was one who speaks my language and then he will pretend, oh, Rigathi, you are one of our own, we are helping you with information from inside, and then he's trying to mislead me. And I refused. In fact, I hear he has been removed and sent to be a deputy ambassador somewhere because he has failed to influence me. I hear they have promoted somebody, Akamba, to try to manage Kalonzo. Another Kisi to try to manage Matiang'i, another one to manage Natembea, so that they can try to convince us separately that you can make it on your own. So that you create a third force to divide the opposition, then we can have a runoff, and then William Ruto, using state resources, can buy the ones who have lost and win in the re-election. So the good thing, they have been trying to create confusion by creating rumors that Kalonzo is going to State House at night, so that we can be suspicious of Kalonzo. But Kalonzo has been very forthright with us, and that's why we have stuck together. Anytime Ruto sends him emissaries, he calls us and tells us. So that has built confidence, And now we are convinced Kalonzo cannot be swayed by anybody. But we know they have attached an officer to try to use a lot of hard attacks to try to persuade Kalonzo to join William Ruto. But he has refused to budge. So the little teething problems you are seeing, they are Ruto characters all over the opposition. You know, you have found most of them, instead of attacking William Ruto and challenging his programs, they are attacking Rigathi Gachagua. You are saying you are in the opposition. This united opposition wants to send William Ruto home. But you, because you work for Ruto, but you are within the opposition, you move from one TV show to another attacking Rigathi Gachagua, who is in the opposition. So once we deal with that little thing of moles, the Ruto fellows in the opposition, I think we will steady the ship, because the principles, myself, Kalonzo, Matiang'i, Wamalwa, Natebea, Muturi, Mother, Linturi, we are all solid. And we have discussed, and all of us are very committed. And I'm telling you, this will be a two-horse race. What happened in 2002? Once the candidate was picked, Kibaki got 62%. Uhuru got 31%. The one who created a third force, Stephen Nyachai, got 5.6%. What will happen if anybody is confused by Ruto, that you are very popular, that you can go it on your own, you can make it alone, and you become a third force? The people of Kenya will abandon you the same day. The people of Kenya have decided there are two horses, Ruto and one-term movement. Whoever is a candidate for the one-term movement will beat Ruto 70+1. Any third force that Ruto will create using manipulation, bribery, national intelligence service to confuse you, that you can run on your own and make it, I can tell you the people of Kenya where they are today. A decision has been made by the people of Kenya, and I listen to them. They want one candidate, they don't care who. You
seem to be speaking about the party that has said they would go alone.
No, I'm not saying.
Within the united opposition, which is Jubilee, who said
I don't know, I'm just saying, if you leave the united opposition and go on your own, you'll be a third force. The people of Kenya will not accept the third force. The other day, they tried to form something called Sijui Kenya Moja, something. But, you know, God is gracious to the people of Kenya. Before we could go far, one of the people who was pushing that thing was unmasked by a root of people saying, this is one of our own. We are the ones who have sent her to spy for the opposition. It died. That is what will happen. And Kenyans are also very intelligent. All these moles sent by Ruto into the opposition, people know them. They see through them. They read. They know, and they tell us, that is a mole. That is a mole. That is a Ruto person. That is this. Let me tell you, this thing will be a two-horse race. The rest are donkeys. Whoever is picked by the united opposition to face William Ruto is the one who will win and will be the 6th president of the Republic of Kenya. If anybody gets lost along the way and decides to abandon the people of Kenya and think you can go it on your own, you will not go far. The people of Kenya will say no.
I want us to talk about the recent matter that has come up, and this is with regard to the whereabouts of one Raila Odinga, fellow principal in broad-based government. And his whereabouts is not known, but you have been accused. A statement from ODM says that you and your team are sending fake news to Kenyans with regard to Raila's whereabouts and his health.
I'm very saddened by ODM. ODM has sunk so low. Since they allowed William Ruto to destroy ODM, it's no longer the party that it was. That is very cheap to start with. Myself, I spent the whole of yesterday here with Mohammed Ali. Mohammed Ali is MP for Nyali and the man who has taken charge of our movement in the Coast region. Very capable young man. And things are going to happen in the Coast province because the area is one term, but they were waiting for us to identify a leader to work around the Coast province. I never had access to social media. And I slept early. This morning when I woke up, I was told there is a letter that ODM is accusing me and Kalonzo and Wamalwa of giving misinformation that Raila is unwell. I was not even aware whether he is unwell or whether there are rumors that he is unwell. To start with, I don't take much time myself thinking about Raila Odinga because the day I realized him and William Ruto are one and the same, I concentrated on William Ruto. Because there is no difference between Raila Odinga and William Ruto. So you don't have to concentrate on two personalities when they are one. So I concentrate on William Ruto. And I don't bother about Raila Odinga. And I have no interest in where he goes Whether he's out of the country, whether he has left, whether he's leaving, it is none of my business. So I was not even aware he's out of the country, or he is unwell, or he is said to be unwell. To start with, being unwell is not a crime. And I want to tell leaders and the people of Kenya, there is no crime in being unwell. When I was a senator, I was taken unwell, I went to hospital. And a leader is a human being, and you can get unwell. So there is nothing so big about somebody's health, whether you are a leader or not. And when I looked at that letter, it's so amateurish. You know, it's so cheap. To start with, you must respect the people of Kenya. If a leader is said to be unwell, and he is well, you just ignore and go on with life. You don't have to say you are not unwell. Why should you bother? Number two, if you feel that the rumors are bothering you, and you need to tell people you are well, you don't have to write a letter. All you need to do is do a few activities here and there, and then people can see you are well, and the matter just dies. President Moi, the second president of the Republic of Kenya, used to do it that way. He would disappear for 5-6 days. People would say Moi is sick. Then he would turn up at KICC and walk, brisk walk from KCC to Harambee House. The matter just ends. These characters of Raila, what they would have done if they thought their rumors is unwell and they want to say, and they are bothered, and they shouldn't be bothered anyway, but if they are bothered, they should have just organized some activity. And even say, if they say he's out of the country, they are not even saying which country. You know, they are even the one creating more suspicion, because you are saying he's not in Europe. If you say he's not in Europe and you have nothing to hide, just say where he is. Looking at it, there are two fronts in my thinking. It's political mischief. One, if Raila Odinga will not run and he'll support William Ruto, a lot of people from Luo Nyanza are saying that if Kalonzo is on the ballot and Raila is not on the ballot, almost 40% would vote for him because he has stood with Raila for 15 years. So I think this was a scheme to try to create a wedge between the Luo nation and Kalonzo Musyoka. Myself, I've never supported Raila Odinga, and even the other day I was saying I felt bad. I asked people to support Ruto, who had said we support Raila, and I say I think I made a mistake. I have taken back that statement. I didn't make any mistake, because Raila would have just been like Ruto. The two are the same. So there is no mistake that I made. I think it is okay. Even if Raila was elected, he would still have behaved like Ruto. He would have gotten Ruto, they root the country together the way they are doing today. So for me, I don't know why they are bringing me into this matter. But I'm also aware that Ruto is so scared about my candidature that he's willing to give money to anybody who attacks me. So I think the ODM fellows were setting the stage to start attacking me, so that they said Ruto videos so that they can have some money. And I think that's what has happened the whole day. Where does Gachagua comes in the issues of Raila? Have I posted anything? Have I said anything about Raila? I was even unaware that he's out of the country. But you know, and it doesn't matter anyway.
But you know, they say where there's smoke, there's fire.
Someone
can just wake up and say
but you must start somewhere and say Rigathi wrote somewhere. He spoke somewhere. I was not even aware that the old man is out of the country, or whether he has any challenge or otherwise, you know. But I know that a lot of people, I have seen many people nowadays, they attack me in all forums. That's why you see there's so much attack against me. Then they get videos, they said William Ruto, they get some money. And it's a pity that ODM is a pale shadow of his former self. William Ruto told me when we were close that he will destroy ODM. He'll use money, he'll buy Raila, he'll buy close family members. He negotiated the sale of ODM with Junet and Joho, and it's true, he has destroyed ODM. In Western Province, they could not get a candidate for Malava. They could not get a candidate for Kisa East. ODM has been destroyed by William Ruto. And just a few characters, Joho, the governor, Wanga, and Junet, they are the ones who are muking. All these other low MPs, they are just shouting. They are not getting anything out of the whole equation. So this party has sunk so low that they can sit down to accuse me and Kalonzo of wishing Raila ill. Let me tell you, my brother, we are not those kind of people. Doesn't matter who, even William Ruto, we have never wished him ill health. Even Raila, we have no reason. In fact, my prayer is that God gives Raila long life and good health. And I pray to God that he supports William Ruto so that we defeat the two of them in 2027. It will be very, very nice for me. I'll feel very good because we would like to deal with Kenya's problem once and for all. And it's the two characters because they are one and the same. They are looting the country together. All these things that are happening in the country, if it was not Raila support, Ruto would not be doing it. But as wishing him ill, wishing him bad, I'm not kind of a person. Right. And I'm really not bothered to what is happening to him or where he goes. It's really none of my business.
Let's talk about formation of the next government, 2027. Yeah. You say that you will run for president, that you want to form the next government. Mr. Gachagua, how do you intend to form the next government if the impeachment was successful and with that it bars you from running for office?
It doesn't bar me from running. That was, the Senate is a quasi-judicial authority. It is subordinate to the High Court. All decisions made by quasi-judicial authorities are subject to review by higher courts. So that decision, we have challenged it in the High Court, okay? And the High Court will listen to the matter and rule one way or another. Depending on the outcome, there's a court of appeal. Depending on the outcome, there's a Supreme Court. The law says, Article 99, that nobody, the right to vie is absolute, and nobody can stop you because of a court matter unless you have exhausted all the remedies available by law. I have not even started dealing with those remedies. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm eligible and I'll be on the ballot unless when we sit as united opposition, the formula doesn't favor me. And as I said, if it doesn't favor me, I'm one Kenyan who has said I'm willing and ready with my supporters who are very many to support whoever we agree in case it is not me. I'm hoping it is myself. What I want to do is to ask that now that the voter registration is going on, I have seen what has happened in the last 1 week and I'm a bit disappointed. And I want to take this opportunity to talk to our young people, the Gen Zs. And I really want to congratulate them for what they did in Odaya last weekend, the TikTokers, and what they did today at a church in Ruto, raising over 16 million to support one of their own. These are magnificent young people. They have such a great resolve for their country. These Gen Zs have made us proud as parents and grandparents, and they have really gone out of their way to advocate for change and good governance. But I want to appeal to them that this change cannot be concluded on the smartphone. It cannot be concluded on TikTok. The actual transformation of this country to get good leadership and good governance will be on the ballot box. And the tool of change is a ballot. I have seen the last 1 week, it's not been very good. I want to ask our young people, the Gen Zs, to know that they have a date with the destiny on the 10th of August 2027 to help this country get good leadership. And they can only do that if they have the vote. Please, they must register. Number two, it is my proposition and my desire, and I've told the Gen Zs in my party, and there are very many, that I also would wish them to take leadership positions and help us govern this country, to be MCs, to be MPs, to be senators. If they don't register as voters, who will vote? The Gen Zs, their peers. They need, if they want to be MCs, they want to be MPs, they want to be senators, they want to be women rep. I saw a very young girl in Kajiado, 21 or 22, she wants to be women rep. I have seen another girl here in Nairobi called Wanjiko, she wants to be women rep in Nairobi. If the Gen Zs, their peers, will not register as voters, who is going to elect them? So let them, please, Gen Zs, this is a good opportunity for you to participate in bringing the change that you desire. And you must also know that you are the greatest stakeholders in this country because you have longer to live than all of us. Number two, I also want to take this opportunity to talk to the middle class. The middle class for the longest don't vote. But when things go wrong, they feel it more than anybody else. The middle class has been incapacitated by the Ruto administration. They are feeling the pinch of bad governance. Their businesses have been shut down. Nothing is going on. There is no money in circulation. And once you destroy the middle class, you destroy the country, because these are the drivers of our economy. I want to appeal to the professionals, the business people, the middle class. Please, you can't stay at home and keep on complaining about bad governance. You must also take your rightful place today by going and register as voters and participate in the election and bring the change that you desire by getting the right leadership in place. You must participate in deciding how you'll be governed, because the middle class is very important for the country. Because if it is destroyed, there's no country like is happening today. But they cannot just sit back and just leave it to the rest of us, the politicians, and the people in the villages and the people in the slums to do it for them. They must lead the way. They must be active participants of the electoral process, of deciding how this country will be governed. They can only do that if they have the tool of change. The tool that makes that decision, that is the ballot. So I want to appeal also to IEBC. It is also slow for one reason. Also, the constituency offices are very far away. The economy is bad, there's no money anywhere. These Gen Zs are not employed. To ask them to spend 100, 200, 300 shillings to go and take a vote is a little bit heavy on them. I would like to ask IEBC to consider rolling out the voter registration exercise to the polling centers, where people walk in the morning, go and register and go back home. Otherwise, it's a little bit expensive, and it's part of why we are having that delay. Again, there is also some delay with the machines in terms of the machines being down. Many people are going, they wait for 2-3 hours, they go away. They need to perfect the equipment that they are having so that there is no downtime. You know, things are working, because people also want to register and go away so that they make it a little bit easier.
Mr. Gachagua, as we look at 2027 IEBC, let's look at the formation of IEBC. And the wrangles that existed, we know political parties played their role in the formation of the current IEBC. Do you believe that IEBC as currently constituted is able to deliver free, fair and credible elections?
Well, I think they will, because they are Kenyans and they also don't want chaos in this country. A free and fair election is a must. And the way the Kenyans are feeling today, any attempt to play around with the elections could be disastrous for the country. I know the other day I said as much, I was taken to task that I'm inciting people. I'm not inciting anybody. I'm just saying, listening to the mood of the country, showing the way people rejected the Finance Bill 2024. They would reject a flawed election 100 times more. And the consequences could be very disastrous. I am persuaded that these commissioners are part of Kenya. And this is their country, and they have no other country. And I have no reason that they will go out of their way to make sure that we have a free, verifiable, credible election. I want to tell the people of Kenya not to be worried that anybody can rig elections. It's very difficult to rig elections. The day electoral laws were amended, that the counting of votes is done at the polling station, made rigging elections very, very difficult. What we need are good agents, quality agents at the polling station, and the polling station results are final. What I recommend, and we want to ask IEBC, is to do away with the bombers and the National Tallying Center. It is not necessary. The law as it is today recognizes a constituency as an electoral area for the presidential election. So the presidential elections are announced in the 280 constituencies. The matter should end there. Even you guys in the press room there, you can just add up the numbers and announce the president. This thing of bombers and tallying and transmission is where monkey business begins. The way to have a free and fair election, and we know the results by morning, same day, is to do the presidential tallying at the constituency. Once the elections are announced at the constituency, 290, the president will take the results and write them somewhere down. When they come from all other, people will just add, and we know who the president is, and nobody can tamper with that. It is not possible to tamper with 290 tallying centers. But this national tallying center has been the source of our problems since the year 2007.
Were there monkey business in 2022 at the National Tallying Center that made you...
There were efforts, but they were thwarted by the portal. But I'm saying that is not even necessary, because it takes 4 or 5 days to ease tension in the country. Let's devolve the presidential elections. The constituency is a presidential electoral area. If it's Madeira constituency, where I come from, let whoever has won the presidential race be announced in Karatina. That will be added to Kamukunchi. That will be added to Ndiwa. That will be added to Nyali. And by morning, by 10 a.m. the following day, because the counting of the presidential votes is number one at the polling center. Even they tally the presidential results first. So it's possible that by morning, more than 240 constituencies in areas that have no challenge with networking, the results will be known. That is a way to deal with this matter in a very nice manner, so that we reduce tension in the country and we lessen room for monkey business or anybody who may want to interfere with the results. So let there be 290 returning officers for the presidential election, so that nobody can interfere with those 290 people, instead of having one person at the bombers. And once those results are announced across the constituencies, everybody will just add up the numbers.
But even towards the voting day, there is the registration exercise that is ongoing. There is a new security feature that has been added, which includes the iris. And many are saying Kenyans were never consulted.
Yes.
The previous registration exercise never included the same. Yeah. There is a new model. There is a new methodology. What is your response to that?
I think it is wrong for IEBC to try to bring a new methodology. Because out of the 14 million voters who are registered, are included, it's biometric. So when you introduce the iris, a new methodology, then which is which? Shall you be having two methodology of identifying the voter on the election day? That is creating confusion. And Kenyans were not consulted, and they were also not told why. Biometric has worked and worked well. Why are you introducing a new methodology? Unless you are saying we introduce it for everybody, including ourselves who are already registered, we go back for the iris. Yeah? So I think IEBC is creating confusion, and these are some of the things now that are creating suspicion. You know the way this IEBC was picked by Ruto and Raila, who are, buddies in the same coalition. Then when you start introducing things that are not clear and are not well reasoned, and they cannot be justified, because are you telling us we are going to have two methods of identification? Why are we having iris for the new voters, yet we don't have it for the existing people in the voters register? I think that is wrong. And I think these are some of the things you may see people are moving to court.
Are you planning to challenge this in court?
Yeah, to challenge it in court. And it will be stopped, because there is discrimination. Why are you having two methodologies? It should just be one. And even if it's there because it's not there in law, there need to be public participation. People of Kenya need to be persuaded as to why. Why are we introducing this new methodology of voter identification? So I think let IEBC not try to introduce things that can bring confusion and things that can start bringing suspicion as to the intention of the introduction of the new methodology.
There is also the fact that President William Ruto lifted the vetting exercise in the border counties. And with that, there is talk that is one way of influencing elections. Well, so what would be your response to the decision that was made by President William Ruto, first of all security-wise, and the fact that it is thought that will be used to interfere with the elections in terms of numbers?
What President Ruto did for mischievous intentions, he was not trying to reduce discrimination, because he's in trouble from his original stronghold, that is a mountain. He's trying to replace the mountain by northeastern Kenya, by trying to get aliens from Somalia and Ethiopia to come and register in Kenya so that they can vote for him. But he doesn't know what he's doing to the security of the country. As we speak today, people from those areas of northern Kenya are being discriminated in America in terms of visa, because the Americans are not sure that they will not get bad characters. So sometime William Ruto, because of selfish desire, he exposes an entire region to discrimination, because not many people will be comfortable issuing visas, to people from a region that is on the border and where people are being registered in a way that is not foolproof. I think it is wrong and it's very untidy. We need to be very, very careful about border security, about the security of the country, about international security, by making sure that we come up with a mechanism on how we vet aliens without discriminating the Kenyan people. And elders have been very useful in the border counties. Elders know who is who. They know who was born where, who went to school. And I don't think elders can discriminate against their own people or harass them or take them through very tedious exercise. I think we need to consider where we can ask the elders in border counties to carry out vetting exercise to make sure that only Kenyans and people who are born in this country and who are Kenyan citizens are registered. Yeah.
President William Ruto for a very long time has said that the opposition is rudderless, clueless, and planless. That all you have to say is one term. That in terms of forming the next government, you have no plans for Kenya. You, Rigathi Gachagua, says you are a presidential material, that you would run for office. What is your plan for the people of Kenya?
To start with, before I tell you my plan, I think William Ruto cannot accuse anybody of being clueless, because he's clueless. How do you describe a president who found a working health system and destroyed it in 3 years?
But you're part of it, though.
I'm saying he's the one who is there, I'm not there. How do you call that president? That is clueless and planless. What is his plan? Killing young people and abducting them? You call that a plan? Is that what he's saying is a plan? If killing young people and abducting them is a plan, we have no plan. If turning State House into a center of bribery and money laundering is having a clue, sure, we are clueless. If destroying the university financing method is a plan, we have no plan. If selling away national assets for private and commercial interests is what you call a plan, we have no plan. My brother, we have got a very big plan. But removing William Ruto is a prerequisite to us initiating the plans that we have. One of the things, if elected president, that I want to do from day one is the issue of the pending bills. Let me tell you, the issue of pending bills, Dennis, has destroyed the economy of this country, destroyed business people. People who did business with the government, national government and county governments, they are owed 800 billion. Their homes have been auctioned, homes are broken down. People who are doing well today are beggars in their own country. Their only crime, they did work for government, and an irresponsible president has abandoned them and started things that have no use for this country. On assuming office, the 800 billion shillings owed to the people of Kenya will be my first priority. I will not initiate any new project until these Kenyans have been paid. And once they are paid, it will have two effects. One, it will give relief to those Kenyans because they worked for it and they need to be paid. Number two, it will be an economic stimulus to the economy. If you release 800 billion into the economy, there will be money circulation in the economy. That is one thing that I want to do. Number two, I would want to dignify government documents. What is happening today? During the time of Mwai Kibaki, a government LPO or LSO or government contract was as good as money. We used to get an LPO for 10 million shillings. You walk to a microfinance banking hall and you come out with 5 million to go and work because they knew you'll be paid and you pay that money. Today, if you go to a bank with an LPO, be chased away, nobody can honor, nobody can give you credit. That is based on a government document. We need to dignify government documents. How do you do that? I would order for an arrangement where once you issue an LPO or an LSO or a contract for government, before you release that LPO, you place equivalent of that money into a suspense account in cash so that the money is there. So that once you have done your work, you are paid. What would happen after 3-6 months? The banks will hear of it and then they'll start giving credit to business people. There will be access to credit with ease because we have dignified government documents. Again, my friend, I would like to restore the dignity of the payslip from day one, including yours. Yeah? There is too much taxation on unnecessary things like the housing levy. It is not the work of government to build houses. The work of government is to provide services. Do electricity, water, roads, sewage, drainage, and then houses will come up. Mwai Kibaki, third president of the Republic of Kenya, never did any housing program in terms of government program. But in terms of housing, Mwai Kibaki did it. How did he do it? He opened the bypasses, put good roads, electricity, water, and sewage. The houses came up on their own from the private sector. Mwai Kibaki did housing without spending a coin from government.
But did you not support affordable housing as deputy president?
Initially I supported because I had believed William Ruto that it's a good program to create employment and to make sure that Kenyans live in dignity. Only for me to realize that it was a private thing for making money, for people to supply cement, to supply chuma, to supply mabati. Again, the president had not told me that we will tax Kenyans. He had said we will look for a way of doing affordable housing. Again, when you look at this affordable housing, like today as we speak, all prison land that is very valuable has been taken and being given to private people. Here in Nairobi West Prison, more than 60 acres, worth about 1 trillion shillings, is being given to private developers. And all prison land now is being taken, given to private people to do this affordable housing. It is pure theft of public land under the guise of affordable housing. So, on day one, first executive order, I would scrap the housing levy, and all these houses that have not been completed, they have not been bought, I would hand them over to the county governments. The county governments would run them, manage them, collect rent, and pay back the people of Kenya. I want to tell all those people who are rushing to buy these houses, and I want them to listen to me today so that they don't say I did not tell them. There will be change of government, for sure. William Ruto will be one term. In 2 years' time, he'll be out of office. We shall scrap the housing levy and hand over these houses to the county governments. Please don't spend your money on these houses. And if you do, don't come crying to us. The ones who buy these houses will be the last ones to be paid after we have paid the people who have been taxed. We'll start with the people who have paid taxes because it was not voluntary. They were forced by William Ruto to pay taxes. Those ones are the ones who will be paid. The ones who have bought the houses, you'll come last year. It will take 15 years, 16 years. So I want to caution them not to run into buying these houses because we shall terminate this program when we take office. And taking office, we are taking office.
All right. Rigathi Gachagua, the DCP party leader, says that his plan for Kenya is to ensure that he restores dignity to pay slips, that he will ensure that everything is done right, that the opposition, united opposition, is united, and that anyone who walks out of that has nowhere to go. He will not be a third force, and that there is conduit by the government to ensure that the opposition is divided. Asante sana for having us and hosting us in your home. My name is Dennis Aseto, and this has been a conversation highlighting where the country is, where the united opposition is as we approach 2027. Calling upon you to get out there if you've not registered as a voter, to go register yourself so that you can have your voice come 2027. Enjoy the rest of your viewing. To everybody that made this production a success, asante sana. Conversations continue. Good night.